How does Netflix make money? Netflix business model. Netflix is a subscription-based streaming, on-demand platform making money with 3 plans: Basic, Standard, and Premium, giving access to streamed series, movies, and shows. Netflix generated $29.6 billion in 2021, with an operating income of over $6 billion. Value model, media company. Netflix's core mission, strategy, and vision are that of improving its members' experience by expanding the streaming content with a focus on a programming mix of content that delights members and attracts new members. Netflix does that via an on-demand streaming platform, on top of a subscription service, where members can find a large library of licensed content. And a larger and larger library of produced and original content, only available on Netflix. Technological model, content platform. Netflix is a content platform business, leveraging media consumption habits of its members to better produce new content, expand the content selection and improve the content recommendation within the existing library. Distribution model, deal-making, branding, vertical integration of content. Netflix over the years built its distribution thanks to deals that made the library available on various devices, plus investment in marketing and branding, and increased investments in original content, which made the platform known to a larger audience. Financial model, content arbitrage multiple, revenues, content investments. The company invests in both licensed and produced content. When the company is able to generate revenues many times over its content investments, this is what we call a content arbitrage multiple. A glance at the Netflix business model. Starting in 2013, Netflix started to develop its own content, under the Netflix Originals brand, which today represents the most important strategic asset for the company that in 2021 counted over 221 million paying members worldwide. Netflix is changing the way we consume traditional media. From series like Stranger Things, Narcos, and Black Mirror, Netflix has been able to become a titan of the media industry, with more than 150,000 members across the globe. With 3 simple subscription plans, Basic, Standard, and Premium, from $9.99 to $19.99 in the US, Netflix has been able to become a multi-billion-dollar unicorn, worth more than $150 billion, in March 2022. Today Netflix is among the most successful brands in the world. And this happened not only because it managed to create one of the most successful streaming platform of the internet era, but also because Netflix has learned along the way when to transition its business model. In fact, Netflix started with CD first, then it expanded its strategy by adopting streaming. Also, it's important to understand how Netflix changed the way we consume content, from movies to series, and also how it was the first platform player to transition from aggregator to media company. In short, Netflix sells 3 simple kinds of subscriptions. With a simple packaging and 3 subscriptions, you can get the streaming of all the available series, movies, and shows available on the Netflix library. Currently, the subscription prices vary from a base plan of $9.99 to $19.99 in the US. The company has 3 business segments. Domestic streaming, revenues from monthly membership fees for services consisting solely of streaming content to our members in the United States. International streaming, revenues from monthly membership fees for services consisting solely of streaming content to our members outside the United States. And domestic DVD, revenues from monthly membership fees for services consisting solely of DVD by mail. This is an heritage of the old business model, which Netflix used to run, before it became a streaming company. Netflix is a media company. Another line item which is interesting to look at to witness the transition of Netflix, from just tech platform, to media company, is the proportion of investment into licensed versus produced content. Where with licensed content Netflix purchases the rights to distribute it across its platform. For produced content Netflix, de facto, invests in owning the content and distributing it according to its own rules. Indeed, the licensing content presents its advantages. Some of them are: Netflix can expand its library faster, making available titles that otherwise would cost too much to produce from scratch. Licensed content also is less expensive, at least in the short term, compared to produced content. And it can help the company to quickly change the kind of content it offers on the platform. However, licensed content has its limitations. You don't own it. Distribution rights change over time, and can be subject to retaliation from competing platforms. Your service might be influenced by external factors you can't control, like changing rights agreements, which can affect the whole business bottom line. Indeed, the difference between licensed versus produced content, for Netflix, doesn't just mark the difference between tech and media companies. It also marks the difference between a company that distributes content and a company which is vertically integrated. When Netflix invests in production, it has to learn a playbook of how to manufacture content from scratch. This gives the company the ability to create long-term competitive advantages and really become a new Hollywood. Therefore, while content production can be pretty expensive, and it needs to be amortized over time, by making sure to have subscribers that are willing to pay more over time and stick to the platform, it also presents important advantages. Control over distribution, as owned and produced content can be distributed at the company's own wish, which gives it a great flexibility to understand where it's best suited, thus, creating more options to make it successful. Control over the long-term strategy of the company, as the owned content won't be subject to the volatility intrinsic to licensed content. Differentiation, as the produced content will represent the company's ability to innovate and produce great series. Monetization, while short-term content production is way more expensive, it's also what keeps subscribers hooked to the platform over time. If I can find Netflix series everywhere else, why would I stick to the platform? More distribution options, as the company can perhaps license its content to other platforms, thus creating more options over time. Key takeaways. Netflix has grown from a DVD rental site born in 1997 to an over $150 billion market cap company. Today Netflix has become a major player in the media industry, and it is investing billions of dollars in production and development of TV shows that have become a symbol for millions of people worldwide. At the same time, the international expansion is costing Netflix billions of dollars, and the subscription-based business model requires continuous investments to keep millions of people pay their monthly plan. As the SaaS industry has taken over the tech world, many give for granted that a subscription business model always makes sense. In reality, as we've seen in the Netflix case study, it took it 13 years to start expanding outside the US. And only in 2016, after almost 20 years, Netflix was able to reach Asia. Netflix runs a cash-negative business model where it advances content development costs, and it amortizes them over time through paying subscriptions. Thus, it's crucial that Netflix is able to make the platform sticky for subscribers. Netflix turned into a media company as it started to invest more and more into content production rather than content licensing. The Netflix content model changed the industry as it enabled members to have new options to consume content. It also generated a whole new industry for series based on binge watching. What Netflix created in terms of a playbook for media platforms in the course of the last decades has now become the standard playbook for anyone that wants to compete in the media industry. Let me know what you think about the video in the comments. It will help me to make more videos for you, and thank you for watching.